you kind of fall in love with the idea of, oh, I want that fairy tale, right?
Yeah.
But then in
To have
reality,
somebody.
yeah, but in reality, it's maybe that's not what you really want. You just fall in love with this idea.
You love the idea of being in love because it's a
Yeah.
great feeling.
Yeah.
You know, when you're in love, it's a euphoric feeling. And to not feel like you're alone, right?
It's nice
It's very nice to have somebody
to
there.
have somebody there.
So I think people can feel like, though, hey, just because I don't want to die alone, or just because I don't want to go to functions, I'm tired of going to functions by myself. I'm tired of doing everything by myself or living alone. I feel lonely. So I'm just going to go and just, you know, be with somebody for the sake of having a body, right? Like
Yeah.
somebody there, even if we're not truly like clicking or it's not the right relationship.
Welcome to the Magnetic Mismatch Show. This is Glinda.
And this is Will. And why are you sitting sideways on your chair? What are you doing?
It just felt comfortable.
There's no way I can sit like that. I'm too big on this chair. And like I look like I'm barely squeezing in here. And you're like, this like giant chair.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
You comfortable? You good?
Yeah.
You ready for cake?
Yeah. You
Desserts.
pressured me into ordering cake.
Oh, I pressured you.
Yeah.
You sure it wasn't your idea? Every time we have desserts, that somehow it's like, oh, I was the one that guilted you into like wanting that dessert.
But in reality, it's me.
It's always you.
Yeah. I have a sweet tooth.
You're like
definitely.
that little like devil when it comes to desserts. You're like on my shoulder, like, oh, it's okay. Just have one cup or one more slice.
Or just one bite.
Yeah, one little slice. Yeah, one bite won't hurt you.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know that I don't just ever eat one bite. Come on. Who the hell eats dessert and only has one bite? Even you don't do that.
No, I definitely don't.
It's like, oh, I'll have one bite and then I'll just have another one bite. And then before you know it, the whole cake is gone. But anyways, talking about pressure, today's topic is a fun one.
Yeah.
I hope I don't get pressured too much in this episode by you. So the episode, our topic is on, can you get pressured into love? Ooh.
I think with anything, right? It's your surroundings and what you see is so important because it affects the way you think and respond to those stimuli.
Okay, scientists, like what?
Yeah.
Speak English. What do you mean?
Yes. So let's say it's kind of like the cake situation or desserts.
Okay.
Right. If I keep pressuring you, you will break down. Even if you're like, no, I don't want it. I have to be good. I'm on a diet.
Right.
But if I keep tempting you and pressuring you, eventually you're going to say yes.
It gets hard. It gets harder and harder. And especially if it's not just you, then it's like, oh, another person comes in. Yeah, just have the cake. It's not a big deal. Then another person, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe media starts saying cake is actually, you should have cake. If you don't have cake,
treat yourself.
You suck. Yeah.
Treat yourself.
Don't treat yourself.
So
you deserve
like,
it.
You know what? I do need to treat myself. So I think that kind of came up when, I was strolling through Instagram feed, right? And all these pictures of, like all these beautiful, happy couples started showing up with perfect lighting, smiling, gazing into each other's eyes. Yeah, and it just made me wonder.
Are those people really that happy?
Yeah, well, that and do you get pressured into creating this picture perfect relationships, right?
Yeah. Sometimes it's the optics, right? It's how does it look to other people, and can we really live up to that? Or is that something that is forced almost, right? Where you feel, as you're saying, pressured into putting up this image.
Yeah.
I hope it's not a facade, but I think sometimes people do feel that way, where it's like we have to present ourselves as this happy couple all the damn time, which if you've ever been in any relationship, you know it's never always perfect.
No.
And you know, it's the real world, right? It's not a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just sometimes wonder, if you're the type that loves to put your relationship out there and take all these and show basically the world that you're in such a happy relationship.
Hashtag couple goals.
Exactly. I mean, who doesn't want to be a couple goal, right?
Yeah.
These photos are amazing, but behind those photos, what if you're really not that happy, or you're not happy with each other? Is it harder to break off that relationship because you have so many eyes on you and you've been creating this basically persona?
Wasn't there like some stories of like YouTube stars where that happened, where like, people, it's like a social media thing, right? Like, so on YouTube, they're like this perfect couple, right? Both young, attractive, successful, and they're always like together and happy and doing cool things, right? But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they break up. It's like, and then people are like, whoa, 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 what happened?
It's kind of
right?
like Hollywood.
It is. It really is.
They'll
almost,
walk the red carpets together,
right?
go on
Smiles
all these
all the time.
luxurious vacation spots, get photos taken by paparazzis, right? They look super happy, but then
you don't really know.
Next thing you know, in the tabloids, they're getting divorced.
Right. And it's like, wait, it doesn't just go from one extreme to the other overnight or in an instant.
Yeah, it's a buildup.
Something was happening behind the scenes that we didn't see, right? Or that they didn't put out there. And nobody would want to put out their dirty laundry, right? But it can, maybe for how long were they unhappy, and yet they were still having to, or they felt the need, the pressure to continue to put on that image for other people, because maybe they were embarrassed, or they felt like, well, this is what we're known for. We're known as this happy couple, and now we don't want to kind of break the news that, hey, it's not actually working out anymore.
Yeah.
You kind of fall in love with certain couples too, like, oh, I want them to be together, I want them to stay together forever, and then when it doesn't work out, you're kind of like, you feel it a little bit too.
To be on the other end, I think you don't want to disappoint your family and friends.
The other, yeah, that's true,
right? Because in their eyes and what you've been putting out there is that you're perfect a couple, but then it's like, okay, now it's over.
Yeah.
It's like a letdown. Almost.
So in those cases, we're kind of talking about like pressure to stay in love, right?
Exactly.
What do you think about like people that, or in situations where, can you like get pressured into loving someone in general, or dating somebody, or like maybe just the idea of being in a relationship?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at these scrolls and maybe, at your friends who are all in relationships, right? You don't want to always feel like you're the third wheel, I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in that situation
so
before.
Have I. I think we all have.
Where it's like, oh, it's
at
a couple.
At one point or another, yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's couples and then it's you.
Yeah.
Or a couple and then it's you, right? It's kind of weird. It's like, I know they try to include you, but it's not the same.
It's different.
You don't have the same inside jokes and stuff with them. And you don't want to feel like you're intruding or anything. So you feel like almost like, oh, in order for me to go to these hangouts, I need to bring a date.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Even if I don't even like the person, I just feel like I need to bring somebody.
Right. And hey, can you be my date? Just pick a stranger on the street or something. Like, You're right. It's kind of like when people go to weddings or like big functions or parties. If you're not there with somebody, you're right. It could just be, I'm just going to go pick up a stranger or somebody.
But you get pressured too by your family and friends. It's like, oh, are you dating anybody? Are you seeing? Well, let me introduce you to somebody. I know this great girl or guy. I think they're from a good family.
They try to set you up.
Your
aunties and uncles and like parents always try to do that, right? In general.
Yeah.
Especially when you're younger.
And you feel almost embarrassed.
Mm.
Right? Like,
for being single or?
yeah, and like for someone trying to, just
Yeah.
set you up, and then they'll ask like a relative, hey, do you know somebody for Linda?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
almost like embarrassing. It's like, okay,
Right.
I think I'm able to find someone on my own just fine.
It's kind
So
of insulting, huh? A little
yeah, it's
bit.
kind of insulting, and it makes you feel like, okay, I'm gonna just bring somebody so that doesn't
It
happen to me.
shuts them up.
And and it's very distracting too. It's embarrassing in the sense where it's like, let's say if it's a wedding or someone's birthday, I feel like it takes the attention away from somebody
Hmm.
else, that it's their special day, right?
Hmm.
So you don't want to, in order to not one feel pressured for why are you single, getting pressure to dating someone that they throw at you, and
Yeah.
then and then feeling embarrassed that you're taking a special moment away from somebody. Sometimes you just bring a date just to shut everybody up.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Because then you might get teased about it too, right? It's like, oh,
Yeah,
where's your date? Or,
why are
you
you
know,
single?
yeah.
Or
I think it gets harder too,
Mhm.
especially as you get older, right?
Yeah,
Because it's a society thing too, where you're almost like you're expected to have found somebody by a certain age, and who the hell came up with that, right?
yeah.
Like,
Or something is wrong with you because you're
right?
single.
It's like,
But why is that?
why aren't you with somebody yet, or why aren't you married yet,
Yeah.
right? By this point in your life, and it's unfair, you know. I think especially because like I was saying, as you get older, like in your 20s and 30s, it does happen, right? A lot of people that you in your circle, your friends, your family, people that you see them together with somebody, you see them getting married, having babies. I'll admit, like when I was single, like I felt some of that pressure too. Or
Mhm.
when people were getting married, and even though we were dating, like I felt some of that pressure. Like, oh, am
And
I
people
falling
would
behind? Like,
bluntly ask us, so when is it your turn?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I know they meant it in like a
And
lighthearted way,
yeah, but
but
still, it puts pressure on you.
it kind of makes you like uncomfortable, right? You always kind of dodge that question, like,
Dodge that.
oh,
Yeah.
good one, auntie. Like,
Yeah.
we're thinking about it. We're getting there, kind
One
of thing.
day, one
One
day. That's
day, we'll
my
let
that
you
was my
know.
response. One day.
Yeah, no, my clapback was always like, "You'll be the first one to know. Don't worry." It's like
Yeah.
I'll send a special invitation for you, special notice. But yeah, like I don't know. Did you feel that way? Like as far as like pressure to whether to like get married or to be with somebody, like when you were dating or like
Yeah.
when you were younger,
You know what?
and seeing like other people,
Um
getting into relationships and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think I felt a lot of pressure from society, but I was very lucky because I didn't get pressured from my family.
Hmm. Not even your
Um,
aunties and relatives.
like they'll ask, but they'll ask. They would,
It's okay,
yeah,
right?
but I didn't get pressured from my parents,
Uh huh.
and I think that's what at the end of the day, like to me, that's really all that matters.
Hmm.
Or what are my parents? What are they thinking, and what do they want? Like because at the end of the day, like I still want them to be accepting of my decisions, right? But for them, it's just as long as you're happy.
Yeah, again, your parents are very different from most
But
parents.
they didn't give no pressure. Even when we had the wedding, no demands.
Like, do what you guys
Do
think.
whatever will
I
show
know.
up.
So that's where my question comes in. So what if they weren't like that, and they were the type that would give you pressure, like, hey,
It's
like, do you have
time.
somebody? Do you need us to help set you up? Like, we know this nice young man from this family or from church, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't be the type though that would be um
I don't think that.
easily
Okay.
pressured. It wouldn't
Okay.
fly well with
No,
you.
it would
That's what
not.
I would.
Yeah, it would not. Because um,
It happened once though, didn't it?
no, it happened when I met one of my mom's friends,
Hmm.
and she tried to hook me up with her son.
Yeah, try to make an introduction.
Yeah, introduction, but that's after the fact though. We were dating already, and my mom knew.
I see.
But she called my mom after she had met me.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, can um, Linda and blank, maybe they should start talking to each other, kind of thing. And my
She's
mom,
trying to play matchmaker.
yeah, she
Yeah.
tried to play matchmaker, and my mom told me about it, but my mom was just laughing.
So yeah, but in that case, you had an out. What if you didn't have an out? What would you do? How would you respond?
I don't think setup for me works.
No?
I don't like being told what to do, or, I think I like things to be on my own terms. But that doesn't say that I don't feel pressure, right?
Right.
Because I have a
I was gonna ask, like, as a
yeah.
woman, I feel like, and I never thought about it this way, until I started hearing more of my female friends kind of talk about it too, where they're like, it's different for women.
But
There's
okay,
more pressure for
I
women
think
than guys.
it depends, because now there's like a movement, right? That it highlights that it's okay. Not all women need to have kids to feel happy,
Sure.
right? That's
Absolutely.
absolutely fine. And at the end of the day, you need to live your life.
Okay. But for the women that do want
I'm
that.
not talking about them,
No.
right? I can only speak for myself, and I know that I kind of knew, maybe I wanted to have kids, right? That was it wasn't
There's a
like
possibility. It
yeah,
wasn't a complete no.
exactly. It wasn't a hard like no for me,
I
right?
see.
And I knew that after a certain age, it's harder to have a kid.
It's more dangerous, right?
Yeah, dangerous, and it's harder to even conceive, right?
I see.
To get pregnant or to have a safe pregnancy, your risk does increase, and the health of the child. There's certain biological things that you can't control, but with science now, and with us living longer, that timeline has been extended, right? It's a lot safer now. It's even if you're a little older, it's not like before, because we have medical advancements to help with that. But there's still a clock that ticks, right? And so there is pressure to find somebody.
And
Because,
that's hard.
Yeah, because
like,
because I get it. There's I mean, I don't want to offend like the strong woman out there that who feels like they don't need a partner to have a baby, right? Like, bravo to you, right? Because that's a lot of work, and I don't think for me, the decision for me, I want a partner to help me share the responsibilities.
yeah.
So in a sense, there is pressure there. And then also the other thing is I wanted to build a career first, right? And I knew that a lot of times when you're so career driven, the relationship portion takes kind of a backseat too.
Right.
So
you felt that pressure to find somebody. I can't even imagine like how that would feel, because that's a lot to put on your plate, like, especially let's say if you are further along, right? You're like in your mid 30s or maybe getting close to 40, and you do want to have kids. You do want to find a partner.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it just hasn't worked out. You haven't found the right person that you're happy with. You probably do feel like, oh my goodness, I have to find somebody.
Yeah.
And then you kind of take this mentality. And so when you go dating, I feel like that comes across, number one. But number two, I think it might even impact and impair the way you look at somebody. You might be willing to
negotiate.
Yeah, you might be willing to lower your standards or overlook certain things that may in the past have been deal breakers for you. And you might just say, you know what? He's this person's good enough, and I'll just kind of go with it because I want to have a kid, or I feel like I need to be married by now, or I need to be in a relationship by now, by this stage of life, so I can definitely understand how that pressure can hit somebody,
and
it doesn't help.
I think that pressure also can really affect your relationship with somebody, because it's hard to go into a new relationship and start pressuring the other person. Okay, it's got to work, right? It's like that's scary. That can like make someone want to jump away.
That's so true. Because then what if you're both like that? You're both kind of at that stage and you're looking for like, I want to find a wife, I want to find a husband, and you're both like, you know, in that situation, now it's like that's a lot of
That's
pressure.
like, it's intense. I can't imagine that.
So you're both kind of like coming into the relationship already with this expectation that, hey, this needs to work.
Yeah. But is it really fair to yourself to lower your standards just to have somebody?
I don't know. I think, and I guess it depends on where your standards were before. You know, did you, when you
Is
were
it
dating,
unrealistic?
yeah, were you at like, you know, like I need a 10 out of 10 in every category. She's got to be like a great personality. She's got to have a great sense of humor. She's got to be a model. She's got to be great with kids and family. And it's not
Her
just
career
like,
must be a 10.
yeah, she has to be like a 7-figure earner and all these things. Do those people exist? Yeah, they do exist, but it's probably a very small fraction, right, of people. And even in that case, it's kind of like, if your standards are there, then yeah, maybe you do need to lower those standards a little bit to be more realistic, right?
Yeah.
In terms, and when I say realistic, meaning, you know, if you want a partner like that, I would think you've got to have something equally valuable to bring to the relationship too, right? Otherwise, why would that person want to be with you?
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, so maybe lowering the standards a little bit, I think in that case would be okay. And it comes down to like things that are most important to you. Are these minor things, or are they like major things that you're kind of overlooking now because of the pressure? You don't want to make that decision and start saying, oh, you know what? I don't like people that smoke, but I'm getting a little, you know, getting a little close now to hitting 40, and I feel like I gotta find a partner. You know what? Everything else is cool. He smokes, it's fine. But you know that really bugs you.
Yeah.
And you're not, in the past, it would have been a complete deal breaker. But now it's kind of like, all right, it's fine. So what's gonna happen though? You know, a couple of years into the relationship, that will probably creep up again.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think? That thing that bothered you so much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that would be the case. Or, but if your standards are already like pretty realistic,
Yeah.
I think lowering it just for the sake of finding somebody instead of being okay with just being alone for a little bit longer, or waiting until you find the right person.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's probably the better move. Again, my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that that's what everybody should do.
Yeah. And sometimes I mean, I think nowadays it's very accepting, right, for someone not to get married and just to be in a relationship and have kids, right?
Sure.
Or sometimes now it's absolutely acceptable to have a kid on your own as well. So
do you feel like the pressure is less then because there are other ways of living?
I think it's
or
not.
lifestyles?
I don't think the pressure is less, because you'll always get some type of pressure, right, from media. You know, telling you how great it is to be in a relationship. To maybe you have a more traditional family, friends,
religious factors too.
Yeah, that gives you that, you know, pressures you into being in a committed relationship. But without that said, you know, do you realistically, I think what you have to ask yourself is, are you a relationship person? Because that might not be for you.
Yeah, or relationships are there's so many different types of relationships nowadays, right? I think that's kind of what you're getting at. It's not just a monogamous relationship that exists now. There's people that are very happy with open relationships, or being in relationships that they don't ever get married, but they're kind of practically married, just not on paper. Or maybe they have you know, just whatever other form of relationship that those two people have chosen to live by. And that's what makes them happy.
Yeah.
So that may not conform or be approved, right? Yeah. Not that you need the approval, but maybe your parents don't want
you. It's not the norm.
Yeah, it's not the norm. You're going against the grain.
Yeah.
It's not your traditional relationship. And it's what other people expect you to do is, you should get married, be monogamous, have kids, right? That's the path. That's the traditional path. But maybe that's not what you want,
And
right?
that's absolutely fine.
But you feel the pressure
Yeah.
that everybody wants you to go do that.
Yeah. And I think you kind of fall in love with the idea of, oh, I want that fairy tale, right?
Yeah.
But then in
To have
reality,
somebody.
yeah, but in reality, it's maybe that's not what you really want. You just fall in love with this idea.
You love the idea of being in love because it's a
Yeah.
great feeling.
Yeah.
You know, when you're in love, it's a euphoric feeling. And to not feel like you're alone, right?
It's nice
It's very nice to have somebody there.
to have somebody there.
So I think people can feel like, though, hey, just because I don't want to die alone, or just because I don't want to go to functions, I'm tired of going to functions by myself. I'm tired of doing everything by myself or living alone. I feel lonely. So I'm just going to go and just, be with somebody for the sake of having a body, right? Like
Yeah.
somebody there, even if we're not truly like clicking or it's not the right relationship. I can totally see that pressure. And
Yeah.
I'm always thankful that like we found each other. But like I remember being single, and as I was getting a little bit older, right, after college, I mean, we got together, right, like a couple of years for me after college, like 1 or 2 years after. But I know like in my family, there was always that a little bit of that pressure, especially from my mom to get married. And she had also a certain image of what her daughter-in-law or who my wife what that person would look like.
Yeah. And she was not shy to speak her mind. She wanted so when Will first introduced me to his mom, she was not thrilled because
She was still cordial.
yeah, but she wasn't
You
like
could tell
super
by,
friendly. She was not happy. Because I wasn't that traditional Chinese girl that she wanted.
Mhm.
Right. And I'm pretty sure you felt that pressure because you wanted to make her happy, right? And
Yeah, that was part of it for sure.
yeah, I mean, I get it. She wants somebody that she can communicate with, and
Right.
Unfortunately for her, she didn't get what she
You don't
wanted.
speak Cantonese or Mandarin or anything
Yeah.
like my mom understands.
Yeah,
And she doesn't speak English very well, so
yeah, so it makes it hard. But I mean, over time, we were able
things
to,
are great now.
Things are fine.
Yeah.
But
She got over it.
yeah, but she kind of backed off a little. But I could only imagine if she didn't.
Yeah, how hard
Right.
that would be.
Right? I think that would put so much pressure on you. Maybe the relationship wouldn't have worked out if there's so much external pressure that you have to date someone with that fits into a certain mold.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And that was her, right, giving me pressure for her idea of who my mate should be. And that's sometimes we fall into that pressure. I can see how that can happen where you give into the pressure because it's too much.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know how to stand up for yourself, or you don't have the strength anymore to fight back and just be
or
all right,
sometimes
fine.
you just feel like, oh, that's my parents, they know best, right?
Yeah, right.
They know that'll bring me happiness.
But you're kind of lying to yourself,
Yeah. But you see it too.
Yeah.
Like, I see people getting set up by their parents because, quote unquote, the guy or girl comes from a good family with a good name, with a good education, good job.
Yeah.
And nothing about if they're a good person,
if your personalities
hobbies.
mesh. Yeah.
Exactly. Maybe you don't care about a guy or a girl with a good job. Maybe what's important to you is that they like adventure,
or that they're passionate about their art or their whatever, their craft.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it could be other reasons, right, that you find attractive, and that you want in your ideal mate, but it's not the same as what your parents want or other people want you to have.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally get it too, because like when you feel that pressure, it is very tempting to just say, all right, it's good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at what point do you decide that though too? That it's good enough versus let me keep looking.
Yeah. It's hard. It depends on how much pressure you're getting. I think.
So how do you deal with that pressure then? Like, do you just ignore it?
And
Do
it
you try
depends on
to?
your mental state too.
Mhm.
Are you strong enough to fight back?
But that's what I mean. Do you try, how do you deal with it when you're in that situation? Like,
Yeah.
you're getting pressure from your parents, from your family, from maybe even your friends, right?
Yeah.
Like your circles, like, hey, you know, get married already or get with somebody, right? And do you ignore those people? Do you clap back? Do you like, fight back?
Yeah.
Do you give in? What do you think people should do?
Yeah, that's hard. I think it depends on the relationship you have with those people, right? Um, if you have open communication, then maybe you can break it down how you're feeling. Maybe being in a long term relationship is not for you, and if you openly let them know,
Hmm.
then there's no why aren't you dating? They know the answer already.
Ah, so just having kind of being upfront with them.
Hmm.
Hey, look, I enjoy being single, or hey, I don't ever plan on getting married. It's not what I want to do. I mean, I think what people are afraid of when that's the case is because they're afraid of what's going to happen, how their other people are going to respond, right?
Yeah.
Like, if my parents really want me to get married and I don't want to get married, and I know if I tell them that, it's going to create like
A lot of
a
tension.
war, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be drama. It's going to break my parents' heart or whatever, and I'll feel bad. So therefore, I'm going to, just avoid talking to them about that and
Hmm.
just delay, right? Procrastinate on ever telling them
Yeah.
until I have to tell them.
Yeah. That's tough.
It's a very difficult situation to be in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think there's a right answer. You
No.
just have to do what's right for you.
Yeah, I think you
Yeah.
you have to, at some point, as you become an adult too, you have to learn how to say no,
Yeah.
and that you can't please everybody, right? I think that's kind of our takeaway is everyone is always going to have their opinion on how you should live your life, on how they think you will be happy. But the thing is, they don't know, right?
They
It's
don't
not
know.
their
It's
life.
not their life because you don't go into their life, like, oh, you need to do this, this, and this,
Yeah.
right? I think,
And I do want to point out that it's like a lot of this, we're talking about like parents, friends, and people that are usually closest to us will give us those opinions and that pressure. And it's because a lot of times I will say that it is coming from a place of love. They want what they think is best for you,
mhm.
and they're doing it and giving you that pressure sometimes without even realizing they're making you feel that way.
Yeah.
But it's because they want what's best for you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
So that's what I'm saying. If you openly let them know what you want, right? And if they're
They
your
might back
true
off. Yeah.
friends, and they're like, okay, that's what Linda wants, and so I have to
Respect that.
respect
Yeah.
her decision,
Hmm.
right? And but if they keep bringing it up again and again after you told them,
Uh-huh.
then now it's on them. It's
Yeah.
not you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is harder with parents or relatives, though.
Yeah, that's
But still,
yeah.
they need to
But
know.
at the end of the day, right? Yes, there might be drama, there might be some arguing, there might be some silent treatment for a while, but eventually they're going to get over
They
it.
have to.
They have
Yeah.
to. Unless, you not dating, it's worth not talking to you ever,
Hmm.
right? Which I think is almost ridiculous.
Yeah. Because I think the worst thing, again, opinion here, right? Like for me, is maybe it's just my personality. I feel like you're the same. It's like that independent, right? And that need for control, or that feeling of I don't like people dictating how I should live or what I should do.
Uh-huh.
And whenever that happens, I tend to push back, right?
Yeah.
And I think so it's easier for me to not give in a lot of times to that pressure. Doesn't mean I don't feel it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that I don't waver either. That there are times where I'm tempted to do something because I feel like I want to make that person happy, even if it's to my being uncomfortable or to my detriment. I'm willing to do that if it's somebody I care about, right? But I think where I'm able to stay strong is as you get older, you learn how to better say no to people, and you understand that the people that truly care about you are not going to hold it against you for disagreeing with them or for, right, having some tension. And I always just bring it back, and I always imagine, like, when I'm like 100 years old or whatever, right? Like I'm at the end of my life, and I look back. It's kind of like, did I really live life the way that I wanted to, or did I just live how everybody told me to live?
Yeah.
And you know, it's that feeling of regret would be so horrible. That pain would be so much greater than if I just in the short term said, you know what, no, I'm not going to listen to you, or no, I want to do it my way.
Yeah.
I feel like I would feel much better. Even if I make a mistake, it's my mistake, like
Yeah.
I made it, I learned from it, I own it, and that's okay. But I don't want to do something just because I got pressure and then look back and be like, damn, I should have just followed my instinct. I should have just done it the way I wanted to.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
Do you feel like that would be your same response?
Yeah. I think that's why you know me. I don't like being told what to do, right? I have to do things on my own terms.
The more somebody tries to pressure you to do something, the more
I'll
you're
resist.
more stubborn. Yeah, the more you resist, the more angry you get.
Yeah, because like you said, as I've gotten older, I've learned how to stand up for myself, and I have one life to live, and I want to be able to live the life I choose to live.
Yeah.
And on my own terms, and I want to make mistakes on my own terms.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, right? Like that's so good and so true, because we get one chance.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, you learn that people are too busy living their own lives, doing their own things to really, it doesn't, what you do really doesn't at the end of the day impact you, right? A lot of times most people won't really care.
Yeah.
Like they'll care a little bit, but it's not like they have their own crap to worry about. They have their own lives to live. And so when they're giving you pressure and advice, it's kind of like for them just their way of trying to help give you their opinion on how they would live their life. But they're not the ones that are going to have to live with the consequences. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah. At the end of the day, when I go to sleep, I need to feel okay with the decisions I've made through the day. And that's it.
That's it.
As much as your friends and family may love you, but like you said, at the end of the day, they come home and they deal with their own problems, and your problem is not on their mind. Right? They give you that advice, but they don't really follow through on, okay, how is my advice going to affect your life?
Yeah.
Or in the long term, or is it gonna make Will happy if I give him that advice?
Nobody knows you better than you.
Yeah. So I mean, they're giving you a general advice, right? But at the end of the day, whether you take it or not should be on you.
Yeah. And I think when it comes to like the pressure and things of that nature, it's kind of like we kind of finish it off here with having that pressure sometimes can be a good thing to kind of to consider. It doesn't mean like my way or the highway, I'm always right kind of thing. I think you should consider what people are telling you, their opinion.
Yeah.
Take it in, right? But it doesn't mean you have to use that advice. It's like anything else, right? People like leaders and people like that, they have, or like a CEO of a company, they have advisors, they have a team. The president has a team. Any leader or whatever, they have a team of people around them that gives them advice and what they think based on their expertise. But the final decision is always going to come back down to that person, the CEO or whoever.
Yeah.
And it's you. You're the CEO of your life. You have the final say. So we're not saying that disregard everybody else's opinions. It's more of take it in, consider it, and then decide based on what do you truly want and go from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I think that wraps things up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew. It's getting a little warm in here. All right, guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed the episode. We hope you got some value out of it. Maybe you learned something, or maybe got you thinking a little bit, about your relationship or where you're at with your dating life and all that. So you can follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Magnetic Mismatch.
Yep.
We also are available on our podcast, obviously, at Apple Podcasts. Make sure to give us a 5-star rating and review. And
make sure to share our content with someone you think can benefit from our talks and get enjoyment out of our podcast. And also, we release a new episode every Thursday. So make sure to follow us on Instagram to get a reminder when we drop a new episode. Until next time.
Yeah. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.